In this lecture, we'll compare and contrast animal call systems to human language. Not only will this give us a better sense of the features of human language, but it'll also give us an idea of what features, if any, are shared by other animals. Of course, all animals communicate, and even plants communicate. They send and receive signals. But the question is, do they have language in the sense that Hockett and others have defined it? Call systems refer to specific sounds, such as hoots, pants, grunts, and yelps. In general, each call is a specific response to a particular situation. Because calls are tied to specific situations, they tend to be limited in number. Compare this to human language, in which sentences can be infinite by simply tacking on "Bill said" again and again and again. Calls usually can't be combined to form new meanings, though there is a little of this in monkeys. Productivity in language, in contrast, allows humans to create novel utterances, words, and sentences that have never been said before. For the most part, animal calls require a stimulus first. They can't be made in the absence of the stimulus, though again there are a few exceptions. Human language, having displacement or the ability to talk about things that do not exist at all, contrasts to this general trend in animal calls in which a stimulus must be present. Calls are usually also automatic in that animals find it hard to suppress a call in the presence of the stimulus. Most humans, on the other hand, are able to suppress their thoughts and don't have to put what they're thinking into words. The range of calls varies for animals, and in some cases we're finding that animals have more calls than previously expected, or they're more complex than we previously thought, as in the case of prairie dogs. For most animals, the range of calls that we know of is around 35 displays. Jane Goodall, the primatologist, famous for being the first to study chimpanzees in the wild, suggested that chimps had difficulty suppressing calls and had to resort to clamping their hands over their mouths when confronted with a stimulus. This suggests a remarkable intelligence in knowing that the call would draw attention to the food or whatever it was, but yet an inability to suppress the call in the presence of the stimulus. The opposite seems to be true as well for chimps. Being able to pant hoot or make the excited call in the absence of something exciting, like bananas, seems to be nearly impossible for chimpanzees. Contrast this to the human ability to lie, to say things in direct conflict with their inner emotions. Animal call systems have some features of human language, but not all features. Vervet monkeys are a great window into animal calls. They have specific calls for specific predators: eagles, leopards, and hawks, similar to prairie dogs. When they hear a call, each monkey acts accordingly to avoid the predator. Juvenile monkeys, however, are known to make mistakes, and this suggests that the call itself is not purely instinctual, but rather learned. So vervets have cultural transmission. Despite this wonderfully precise call system, the monkeys are not able to combine calls to create new words, so they lack productivity along with displacement as well as hierarchy. Another interesting example of an animal call system is the American white-crowned sparrow. Baby sparrows removed from their nest are able to sing the generic sparrow song, even though they've never heard it, so it must be innate or instinctual. There is an embellished song, though, that builds on the generic one, and this embellished song is sung by the parents. The baby sparrow that's taken away from the nest will never learn the embellished song if it doesn't hear the song within a window of time. So there's what we call a critical period for learning this song. In this case, the sparrow's call is both innate and learned. Displacement is something that is extremely rare outside of humans. And remember that displacement is the ability to talk about things that are not in your immediate environment. Honeybees perform a waggle dance. The dance indicates the distance and direction to a food source based on the orientation to the sun. The bee is able to communicate about something not in its immediate environment. They've done these really nasty experiments where they knock the bees unconscious after the waggle dance is performed, and when the bees wake up, they fly off in the totally wrong direction. Importantly, in this case of displacement, the bees have to encounter the food source first. They can't just dance for the fun of it or as a kind of bee practical joke. There's some very new research on Diana monkeys that suggests that they have some minimal ability to produce novel sentences, so a little bit of productivity. Two calls are combined to mean predator, let's go. Prairie dogs may be able to add descriptors to their predator calls, which could also potentially count as productivity. In the next lecture, we'll look at experiments on captive animals that were designed to get them to communicate using language.